Hello from abominably hot New York City. I am sorry for being late as usual. Hello.
Hello.
What are you doing here, young man?
I'm just watching around.
Oh my gosh, why am I? Hi guys. Vasil, I left my charger in your room. I think. Would you mind bringing it, like the computer charger? It's plugged in. Yeah. Hi guys. Well, a tad bit of good news here. My mother got approved for an American visa. And I am now trying to figure out when I would want her to visit because she's asking me when she should be coming over here. Part of me thinks that I would love to see her for my birthday. And part of me thinks that I would rather see her in like September or something like that when it gets a little less abominably hot in here, hopefully. And so that we could, I don't know, maybe go to like Florida or something and just have a vacation or something like that, because I can't imagine going to Florida right now because I feel like I would quite literally just be one of those tourists who has like one of those like hats, you know. I don't know, they were popular in the 90s and it was like this like rainbow looking hat and it had it's plugged into your outlet near your desk.
I was thinking, but
You don't
is
see
it
it.
black?
No, it's white.
Okay, it's white.
Oh,
White.
okay. Oh my gosh, I'm an
Remember
idiot.
white.
Listen, I'm an idiot. It's cool. That's right here. Yeah, so my mom got approved for a visa. I am really excited about that.
She will come.
Yeah, she'll be coming here. She will be coming here, hopefully, yeah, either like my birthday, I guess it's too short of a notice because it's August 7th, so that's what, in like a couple of weeks? My birthday's in a couple of weeks.
Your mom is cute.
And yes, the rainbow umbrella hats. Have you guys never seen them? It was like such a thing among tourists in like the 90s and
What?
early 2000s.
Rainbow
They
umbrellas.
looked ridiculous. They were like rainbow umbrella hats, and they had these like fans in them. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna show you in a second. Let me just plug in my iPad so I can get it prepared for the news. But I will show it to you in a second. And also, I have a very interesting photo to show you. My grandfather went to visit his friend in Israel. And remember how I showed you guys, well, a lot of you probably weren't here yet, but remember how I showed you guys photos of my grandfather in Odessa on the beach with his friend in the 60s and 70s performing gymnastics tricks? So my grandfather went to visit that particular friend of his because the friend moved to Israel a little while ago, and they were performing some gymnastics tricks on the beach. And my grandfather is 84 years old, in case anyone was wondering. And I saw that photo today, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cute! I can't."
Your sister has posted it.
Yeah, she's my aunt.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I call sister.
So yeah, so she posted our dad brought us to Disneyland in the mid 90s, and I remember people on the sidewalk selling those hats. Yes, hi Lauren. Yes, those like ridiculous looking hats. So, how many of you guys actually remember the photos of my grandpa on the beach performing gymnastics tricks? Okay. Because if you don't, then I'm going to refresh the memory for you, and I'm going to, hi Tammy, and I'm going to show you specifically what that looked like. Let me see. So you have a lot on here, but so I need to go to conversations with John. No, not his Facebook. JD. Me. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, which I find it to be very cool because again, Grandpa is 84, which I found out today is literally I am a third of his age. I'm a third of my grandpa's age. Why can't I see? Hi guys on TikTok. Hi guys. I'm not Joey, but yeah, I'm going to 1 second. I'm trying to figure out why I don't have these. If I go into my chat with John, I don't see them. But also, I definitely have them in my chat with Anastasia. Oh, there we go. So this is my grandpa and his friend, Bob, in the 60s. Hi, Tina. This is my grandpa and his friend Bob on the beach in Odessa in the 60s. They were basically performing gymnastics tricks on the beach. And they're in their early 20s here. Grandpa is this guy right here. This is Grandpa. Grandpa is this guy right here. So, let me introduce you to my grandpa a couple of days ago at age 84 with the same friend performing gymnastics tricks on the beach in Israel. This is Grandpa right there. As you can see, he is not nearly as suntanned as Bob. So it's not Tata's father, it's my mom's father. But the man is 84 years old. And you know what's upsetting? What's upsetting is that I am 28, which is literally a third of his age, and my legs do not look nearly as toned as my grandfather's. And I'm just like, this is so not fair. But also, I'm not I was never a professional gymnast, so I guess it is what it is. But yeah, that's my grandfather a couple of days ago in Israel with his friend Bob. And I think that's so cool because, well, I didn't even think about it right away when Anastasia showed me the photo. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. But so basically, I didn't think about it right away when my grandpa showed me those photos because when Anastasia showed me those photos of my grandpa, because, well, it was just like, oh, cool, grandpa at age 84 doing gymnastics on the beach in Israel. But it's the literal same friend from the pictures in the 60s. They have been like best buds forever. And he moved to Israel recently, and my grandpa was really sad. But now, they're doing gymnastics tricks on the beach. So yeah. Also, hi everybody on TikTok. Good to see you. If you prefer YouTube, this is also streaming on YouTube at the same time under Yewleea. And my name is Yulia. If you haven't met me yet, I'll be substituting for Joey for, I think, either 4 or 5 more days while he's on a vacation. We do news every evening here, and we talk about Ukrainian culture, history, and relevant context. We also talk about random stuff like my grandpa and his very, very toned legs, because why wouldn't you want to talk about my grandpa and his incredibly toned legs, right? So there is that. If you'd like to find my personal TikTok where I do a lot of history and culture about Ukraine, it's Yewleea. And so is my YouTube. Also, if you do not have time to watch Ukrainian news right now, you can catch up on them later because they will be saved on YouTube. And that's the perks of YouTube. But yeah. Say YouTube one more time, Yulia, right? But so yeah, basically that was that. And then my mom's situation with the visa thing was so interesting. It was basically like destiny because she was trying to sign up for a consulate for American embassy in Poland for like 2 to 3 months now. And they did not have any open spots at all. And then she was going to Poland to pick up my grandpa because he was like, his flight from Israel was landing in Warsaw. And my mom basically went to go pick him up and bring him back to Lviv. And Anastasia was like, let me see if there are any spots open for the visa. And And she did. And there was one spot, legitimately one spot for the next like 6 months to a year. And it was the spot on the day that my mom was supposed to be in Warsaw picking up my grandpa. And so obviously they jumped right on it. And my mom went. And she got approved today, and she texted me. She was so happy. I was really happy, obviously, because yay, my mom got approved. So that was really cool. And yeah, it seemed like it was just like meant to be. I had to dig up. John wrote my mom a letter of invitation like last year. And my mom couldn't find it, so I had to like dig it up, and his signature was on it, and I just like blurred out the date basically because it was dated 2021. So I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna make him rewrite it and re-sign it. Like obviously he still wants my mom to visit, so I just sent her that. And yeah, I was so happy. Thank you. And I'm incredibly happy that I will be able to hear her. I hear her. I will be able to see her because, well, I miss her just as much as I miss my dad. Well, but I saw her. Like, I didn't see my mom for, I think last time I saw my mom was 2018, and my dad was 2015. So definitely longer than my dad, longer than my mom. Yeah, and now I have to figure out when I want my mom to come here because she's gonna come for like a month. She's gonna come stay here for a month, and I'm like, haha, a month, a month with my mom. Love her incredibly, incredibly much, but also a month with my mom, and she wants to sleep in the same bed as me because she wants to cuddle. And every single time, what happens is my mom literally completely takes over my entire bed. And then she clings onto me like a little leech and won't let me go because she's like, I haven't seen you for so long. And I absolutely hate sleeping with like someone like touching me. I put a blanket between me and Cindy because Cindy is really hot and she likes to sleep. Her like a part of her little hot little portable heater body has to touch my body, and we have kind of like we have adapted this way of living where Cindy, there is a blanket separating me and Cindy, and I usually buy percale sheets because they stay cool, or sometimes like I buy eucalyptus sheets because they are cooling. And yeah, and so Cindy and I have a degree of separation. My mom does not have a degree of separation. Oh, Lauren says, I wish my son would let me cuddle him. Listen, I don't let her cuddle her. I don't let her cuddle me. That is not about me letting her cuddle me. That is, I'm not letting her do anything. No one's asking me. It's not like I have a choice. Oh my gosh, yeah, granddoggy. Oh my gosh, my mom says that she's anytime I call her a grandma, she says I am grandpa's ex-wife. And I'm like, okay, so someone's
in case you want some water, you can take it.
Oh, thank you so much. You're very sweet.
Because you wanted butter.
Thank you so much. That's adorable.
It is hot.
It is very hot, yes. Oh, look at him. Look at this little thing. Aw. Adorable little thing. Boy. Aqua. When I was a little kid, my parents and I went to Italy all the time, and our friends lived there, and they had a kid who was like 3 to 4 years younger than me. I was maybe like 7, and he was like 3, and his name was Jakub, and he was just like learning how to speak. And the only thing he knew how to say was aqua. Just like water. Would your mom join you for at least one live? Yeah, my mom will join me for lives. My mom has no issue with being on lives. She just sits there kind of and does this. She like understands English, but she doesn't really speak it very well, and she has a huge language barrier, and she also has this thing where she assumes that she does not need to speak English anymore if I'm around, because why? I speak English. So like, why exert any effort? So yeah. So yes, so that's my mom. She will join us for lives, and she will be a very good background dancer. That's basically it. Or background nodder. Background smiler and background nodder. We want to see if you look like your mom. I do. I look so if you look at me like this, I look like my mom here, and then I look like my dad here. So half of my face is my mom and half of my face is my dad. So yeah. I do look a lot like my mom, and I do look a lot like my dad. And people are always arguing each other on whether I look like my mom or on whether I look like my dad. Story of my life. And the thing is, I look just like both of them. But my personality is my dad, like completely my dad. Uh, so yeah, it's interesting actually how like our personalities are. Like I understand my mom, and I understand what she means when she does things, but like let's say my dad's negative traits are very similar to my negative traits in a way. And so when my dad is being annoying, it's much easier for me to like kind of justify it, and it's much easier for me to see it as like, okay, well, he's just being annoying, and it's just much easier for me to like tolerate because it's the same way of me being annoying. So it's very tolerable, it's very tolerable, and it's very easy to kind of like deal with because it's the same way that I would be annoying. When my mom is being annoying, she's like annoying in a very, very different way, a way that just doesn't go over well with me. And so it's much harder to tolerate my mom being annoying than it is my dad being annoying because I operate on the same wavelength as my dad and on a completely opposite wavelength than my mom. And so yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting psychology of like relationships between like parents and kids, at least in my opinion. So I don't know if you guys who have children can relate, where like your kid is more similar to one of the parents and less like to the other parent. And then there is this like special bond, because I definitely have a special bond with my dad, and it's just something that like there's just no way that I could develop a bond like that with my mom because it's kind of like innate. Like I'm my dad's mini me. That's just all it is. No. Okay, like listen, I know how to tolerate my mom. Okay, but when my dad is being annoying, my dad is being like logically annoying, and he can like, like, let's say we act different. Like when my dad is upset or sad or like or worried for you or like is like really wants to help, he gets mad. Like he gets mad and he starts being like very like straightforward and very like very, the way he talks is like higher tones, and he basically like starts yelling at you because he's so worried for you that he's like, oh my gosh, how can you not get this, right? Like, and I don't act that way because I've worked in myself enough and I know myself enough where I don't like screaming and I don't like yelling, but I understand like the process behind it, where like you're so worried about someone that you're like mad that they're not as worried about themselves. I get it. So that's my dad's way of being annoying. Heroyam slava. My mom, when she's mad at you, she turns into like a passive aggressive teenager. But she's also mad at you for things that like don't exist. Like let's say, I don't know, you looked at her in a way that did not satisfy her, and now suddenly the entire day she's going to look at you like this. And then you're going to be like, what's wrong? And she's going to be like, nothing. Nothing's wrong. And so that kind of stuff is like, I just really, really like, I can't deal with it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how at 54 years old you can still do that. I feel like that is something that I could have potentially accomplished in high school. And even in high school, passive aggressiveness was never my thing. So for me, I'm a very straightforward person. And it's like, if something pisses me off, like I'll be like, hey, could you please not do that because X, Y, and Z, like it bugs me, right? Like, could we please do that? Could we please do it this way? My mom is like, she just like is a princess. Like the only way that I can explain it is that she's a princess, and she just consistently wants attention, and like the way that she's used to getting attention is through like acting out, and so she just acts out the whole time. And I can't deal with it. And when I was younger, I was still kind of just like trying to, like satisfy that, and I was trying to like be like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong, like what did I do wrong, what did I do this, what did I do that, right? And I was just like trying to kind of be like, well, she's just like that, and I'm just gonna do it because like there is no changing her. And now I'm like, listen, okay, you do you, sweetheart. Whenever you're ready to not act like a freaking 13-year-old, we can speak. But until then, sayonara, because I'm not about to run around in circles around you trying to like figure out what's wrong with you when there is really nothing wrong. You just want to be mad. Is your mom more of a control person or your dad? My dad. My dad is much more of a control person. In fact, like we had a lot of issues when I was young and when I lived with my parents, because my dad is a control freak. He has to control everything around him, and he was always incredibly like worried that something's going to happen to me, and he would like literally stalk me. Like I would be at a cafe with friends and he would like show up from nowhere. So as like a parent, doesn't like, he was just a very like strict, very, very controlling, very like sort of like, I don't know, I felt like I had no escape from him, but it was very different as like overprotective. Yes, incredibly overprotective, but like in a way in which, again, like, when my dad is worried for you, he starts like panicking and like yelling and stuff. So for me, it was just like a consistent stream of my dad just freaking the fuck out. And I was like, I don't understand what you want from me. I'm a good student. I have good grades. I don't do anything wrong. Like, let me freaking go. Like, Jesus Christ. So yeah. But now we're good. Now that I'm an adult, and he like, now that I'm an adult, we have a much better relationship. I'm still that way with my daughter. She's 33. Please don't do that. Please don't do that, Mike. Oh my gosh. Don't be overprotective over your kids. That just drives them further away. Because we assume that you assume that we're like completely inept at everything. Oh, but that's like also the thing, like I think one of the biggest mistakes that parents make is that you want to be there for your children and you want to be able to catch them when they fall, so you feel like you need to know everything to like help them and protect them and stuff like that. But by exhibiting that type of behavior, you basically push your kids away and they don't tell you these things. But if you were to just like breathe in and breathe out and let them do their thing, they would come to you for that protection. So it's like, I think that's one of the things that I wish like I could tell my parents when I was younger. I wish I could like sit them down and be like, look, I understand what you're trying to do. Like, I know what you're trying to do, but by that, I feel suffocated by you. But had you not been like imposing this on me, you would be the first person I would go to deal with these things. So in fact, you would know the most, right? But because it feels like you consistently try to like snoop and, protect me and stuff like that, when I need protection, I don't want to go to you because I feel like I'm giving you too much. So that's, yeah. I wish that I could like sit my parents down and tell them, because I feel like that would have been so, I wish like more kids were able to express how they feel more freely and more like eloquently, because kids act out. Привет, Nicole. Because kids act out basically when they're trying to tell you that something is not good or they don't like something. Героям слава. And parents overprotect when they are scared, or they're, or they want to like be a better parent to you. So yeah, there is this consistent disconnect between generations, and it's really interesting to see. That is not going to go well with Ukrainian parents. Well, see, Kat, I feel like that's the thing that hi Lauren, that we like to, I think that we like to justify our actions that are not working as like, oh, that's not going to go over with Brazilian parents. That's not going to go over with Ukrainian parents. That's not going to go over with like Chinese parents. That's not going to go over with immigrant parents and stuff like that. But that's the whole thing, where I think that we as children and we as parents need to like reevaluate our behavior and stop imposing onto our children how we acted, how our parents acted with us, and what's like good and what's not good. So yeah, that's the thing. And I think one of the things that I really dislike about Ukrainian parents, like in general, that I think that the Soviet Union and just like not even the Soviet Union, but our culture has taught us, is that the parent is always right, and the parent has authority without gaining respect and without gaining like, yeah, but that's like the whole thing. I think that the culture of like Eastern European parents is that parent is always right, parent knows best, parent is not that there is no like individual approach to a child. There is an approach of this works because this is what my parents taught me. And another thing that really bugs me about Eastern European parents is that Eastern European parents want your utmost respect and want to have the utmost authority without doing anything to gain that respect and trust from their child. And I think that that is a really, 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 really crappy thing. And I absolutely despise that about Eastern Europe and how we are being taught to be parents, because that's not um, that's not true. Parent is not always right, and you can't demand authority without fostering a safe environment and a plausible environment for your kids to want to listen to you and to want to respect you. You can't just have respect because you gave birth to them. That's how your kids get out of the house and never talk to you. You know? Yeah, of course. You love your kids so much that you want to make sure that everything's okay. And that's like totally fine. As in, like, I'm not saying don't parent children, I'm just saying that there is this like terrible, terrible culture of like uh, parenting in Eastern Europe that's been ingrained in us. And I look back on it and I'm like, I would never do that. I would never want to do that to a kid. Like, first of all, I don't want kids, right? But that's like the thing where I just see, but that's one of the reasons, where like I understand that being a parent takes a lot of self-control, like kind of self-control, a lot of patience. But I don't mean patience as in like, oh, you have to be patient as a parent. Like, yeah, no shit. But am I the wife of Joey, you mean? No, I'm not Joey's wife, but I am. My name is the same as his wife. I'm Yulia, and I'm substituting for him while him and his wife are on a vacation. But yes, so if you'd like to check out my content and what I do here, my page is Yewleea. I'm a born and raised Ukrainian. My entire family lives in Lviv, Ukraine. That includes my immediate family, and I live in New York for the past 11 years. Привіт, Україна. But so what I was gonna say is that it requires patience, and patience on a level where like you need to be patient with yourself, and you need to be able to like take a deep breath and put the interests of your child first. And my thing is that I don't necessarily want to do that because I feel like I am the kind of person who likes to, like, as in, I don't want to bring somebody into this world when I'm not 100% down to when I'm not 100% down to put their needs and their feelings and their like psychology in in front of mine, or before mine, because I just don't want to. And so I think that anyone who is not willing to do that, like, it's not responsible to bring kids. So I would want to, as in, like, I want every child to have a parent who's ready to, like, to take a step down, a parent who's ready to know that they're not the most right person here, know that every kid needs an individual approach, know that, like, all of these things. And I'm just like, I know these things, but would I want to actually do them? No. Because I want to, I don't know, I'm a very freedom loving person. It's really hard for me to even, I don't want kids. Yeah, I don't want kids. I also, like, I don't want to be pregnant ever. That's like one thing that I can't even express how much that does not interest me. Like, it disinterests me to an extent that I cannot explain to you. Like, if I were to ever have children and something changed in my brain and be either via surrogate or like via adoption, but I'm never signing up for being pregnant. Like, no. No. Am I Amish? That's a new one. What about my appearance had given you an idea that I might be Amish? Is that the fact that I'm using lip gloss, which is forbidden? Is that the idea that my cleavage is pretty low, which is also forbidden in the Amish community? Is that the idea that I'm wearing beige, which is also not one of the colors that is allowed to wear there? Is it the idea that my head is uncovered, which is something that women are supposed to do? Is it any of those things? Because that is my hats look Amish. You mean the straw hat and the baseball caps that I have hanging behind me? The straw hat and the baseball caps that I have hanging behind me look Amish. Okay, I will take that into consideration. It's from Springy. Yeah, okay. I suggest you look up the Amish, and I suggest that you look up their church, and I suggest that you look up their clothing and traditions, and it might surprise you how not Amish do straw hats look, because those are not something that Amish even wear. It was because of the straw hat. Also, Amish women don't wear straw hats. Oh my gosh, yes, I'm, in the middle of Rumspringa. I'm currently down the street from Amish. Yeah, see? But yeah, so what I was basically, before this got interrupted by my Amishness, by my non-Amishness, I guess, what I was saying is that I think that for me, yeah, it'd be via surrogacy or it'd be via adoption, and it would only be if I felt like I am. It would only be if I felt like I'm in a position in which, like, I genuinely want to. I I don't know how to, like, properly explain it, because, like, I'm not a selfish person. As in, like, I'm not a selfish person. I am I'm just a very self-aware person, and I know that I don't want to plan my vacations around kids. I don't want to plan, like, my life around children. Like, I want to be able to do things spontaneously because I want to do them, and I want to be able to sort of, like, yeah, I don't want to be tied down, pretty much. It's like, when I was growing up, it's interesting to me that I'm married, because I'm the type of person that I like my space so much, and I like my, like, ability to have space so much. And I like freedom in an incredible capacity, as in, not freedom as in, like, oh, I want to do whatever I want to do. Like, no, I'm not, like, that's not the point. It's just more of, like, once you get married, right, it's not just you anymore. You really need to think about the other person, and you need to, like, if you respect them, right, you're going to want to do things that are not just for you anymore. And I used to think that that's just such not like that that's never going to happen, but I guess my husband is just as like as detached as I am, so we don't have that issue of, like, codependency, sort of. So it's much easier because we are both very much space loving, and both very much like our lives are very together yet very separate, and it works. So that's very, that's like a rare kind of, we have a very non-traditional, I would want to say, relationship, but it's like a rare type of relationship that works for us. And yes, my dog is a toddler, but my dog as a toddler is also not going to require me to pay 50 grand a semester for college. And my dog also does not require me to pay a ton of money for kindergarten and for schools and for stuff like that. And my dog does not require me to have a decently crazy cushion of savings in case something happens and she has a hospital bill, because vets are expensive, but not nearly as expensive as everything else. So yeah, so yeah. Hi, Karine. So dogs are much cheaper than kids. Are you kidding me? Dogs are ridiculously much cheaper than kids. First of all, giving birth to a child is like $13,000. And that's after pregnancy. Okay? That is after pregnancy. And then children you got to pay for kindergarten, you got to pay for school, you got to pay for college. You got to pay for all of these things. There is yeah, obviously the two huskies would be expensive, but also not nearly as expensive as you were for your parents. Yeah, the huskies didn't need to go through 3 degrees of education. Also, before school, you gotta do like the whole preschool, and then you gotta you gotta pay for SAT prep and for all of these other things, and for developmental courses, and for I don't know, so many things, so many things. Yeah. Oh yeah. Bicycles, like a car when they're 16. Some kids some kids want a car when they're 16. A dog is not gonna ask you for a car. Yeah, no, dogs are cheaper than children. Much cheaper than children. And also you can train dogs. Hi, Luann. Yeah, so yeah, dogs are a lot of responsibility as well, but not nearly as much responsibility as children. Yeah. My daughter is 18 and she doesn't have a car yet. Yeah, I mean, it's situational, it's individual, but Lauren, something dogs are so much cheaper than children. Yeah, well, I mean, it'd be weird if dogs were more expensive than children. That'd be so unfair. Alrighty, are we ready for Ukrainian music and Ukrainian news? Dogs are too expensive for me, but at least I like them. Oh, that's so funny. I like kids. I just like kids when I can return them. Like I get along with kids. Kids like me. I think I'm a very good, I like spending time with kids. I'm very good at playing with kids. It's just that I'm only happy to be around children if I know that at some point I can return them. That's about it. Craig here says, my daughter is 30, just got married, and tells me what to do. Sounds about right. And just see them as weirdly small adults. That's so funny. Okay. One second. Ukraine top 100. Oh, this is. Oh my gosh. This is a rework of another love, but in Ukrainian. About Amish life, no. No. Yeah, So this is Another Love. This is a Ukrainian like cover. Hi, Boston. So this is called ENLEO and Leo, and the song is Insha Lubov, which is Another Love, and it's a cover for this song. I'm gonna play it because So that's Tom Odell, Another Love, which was the original, and Herojem Slava Ruin. And then they basically, this Ukrainians reworked the song, and yeah, long song, but it's really nice. I really like the verse where he said, "I brought you daffodils and a pretty string, but they won't bloom like they did last spring." Or they won't flower like they did last spring. And this song was very popular among the Ukrainian community because they felt like it's very reflective of the war. So yeah, I did play two versions. One in Ukrainian, one in English. Are you kidding me? What? Okay. Alrighty, so 7 missiles were fired at the Odessa region and 1 was shot down. 6 people, including a child, were wounded. The enemy struck the Odessa region with missiles at night. 7 caliber cruise missiles fired from the Black Sea. 1 was shot down by air defense forces. 6 hit a civilian population center. 3 private houses and 2 outbuildings were destroyed and set on fire as a result of the missiles. Several other private houses, cars, a school, and a house of culture were also damaged. 6 people were injured, including a child. The fire on the area of 300 square meters was promptly extinguished. 95 rescuers and 16 units of equipment were involved. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Russia prioritizes attempts to capture Siversk and Bakhmut. The Russian Defense Ministry meeting with the leadership of the Eastern Group of Forces in Ukraine shows this. According to the American Institute for the Study of War, the Kremlin will not focus on capturing Slaviansk at this stage of their campaign. Other findings include Russian forces conducted a series of ground attacks east of Siversk and south of Bakhmut. Russian forces intensified efforts to attack Avdiivka and conducted limited ground assaults along the Donetsk-Avdiivka front line. Russian President Vladimir Putin's likely attempt to place the burden of supporting operations in Ukraine on ethnic minorities to avoid a general mobilization of ethnic Russians could spark resistance in ethnic enclaves of Russia. Russian authorities continue to integrate the occupied territories into the Russian commercial economy. Yeah, continue trying to integrate, because the funny thing is, well, not the funny thing, but a very Ukrainian thing is that our people are not willing to adapt to it, and they have guerrilla movements and partisan movements, and they have all kinds of and all sorts of resistance going on. Ukraine switches to weapons according to NATO standards. National Security and Defense Council Secretary Oleksiy Danilov. Our country is transitioning to NATO standards. This is a very important thing. 155 caliber, other NATO calibers. As for HIMARS, there is some understanding that we have already started to get projectiles that are sent much further than it was in the beginning. And let's hope that what we need, that range, will appear in our country in the near future, said Danilov. He also added that previously Soviet caliber shells were used, which are almost out of Europe. Danilov noted that thanks to the military assistance, it is already possible to say about achieving parity with the Russian army in some positions. But still, this weaponry is not enough to achieve the advantage in favor of the Ukrainian side and the earliest end of the war with the victory of Ukraine. So high hopes are pinned on the meeting Rammstein 4, which will be held in the coming days, and where the issue of increasing the supply of weapons will be discussed. Russian troops are trying to conduct an offensive in the direction of Kharkivka. Combat operations continue, the main on the morning of July 19th. In the Kharkiv direction, the enemy reconnaissance battle near the village of Udy completely failed. The invaders suffered losses and withdrew. The main on the morning of July 19th. In the Kharkiv direction, the enemy reconnaissance battle near the village of Udy completely failed. The invaders suffered losses and withdrew. In the Slivensk direction, after an airstrike near Husarivka, the enemy attempted to go on the offensive in that settlement. Our soldiers met invaders with heavy fire and drove them back. In the Kramatorsk direction, the enemy carried out assault actions near Sporny, had no success, and withdrew. Attempts to conduct an offensive in the direction of Hrhorivka, hostilities continue. In the Bakhmut direction, all attempts of assault actions in the direction of the settlements of Semihirya, Vershina, Pokrovsky, and the territory of Uglahirsk thermal power plant were successfully repelled by Ukrainian soldiers. The Russian army continues shelling settlements along the entire front line. Also, the missile threat from Russia remains high. Up to 40 rockets were fired at Nikopol. Head of the Dnipropetrovsk RMA, Valentin Reznichenko, the enemy hit the port. There is destruction at 2 industrial enterprises. The explosions caused fire there. Several private houses and power grids were damaged in the city. Electricians are working at the site. People were unharmed. In the Kryvyi Rih district, the enemy hit the Zelenodolsk community with artillery. No casualties. So Nikopol is the place where they're planning on deporting to, we don't know where, Ukrainian citizens who are pro-Ukrainian or other thinkers. They're planning on deporting other thinkers, people who think other than Russians. Also, I found out today that apparently in Russia they have been like making the laws stricter for a lot of different communities and for a lot of different things, which, to be fair, doesn't bother me at all because I don't care what they do in Russia. But there is one law that really does bother me. They're trying to reform the family laws in Russia, and they're basically trying to like make it so that it's in the hands of parents. But there is one little clause in those laws where like if your parent, so like a minor used to have a right to stay in contact with their parents if the minor and the parents lived in different countries. But now that right is being taken away, which that influences and that is specifically targeting the Ukrainian children who have been forcefully taken into Russia and who have been deported into Russia and who have been kidnapped. That law is 100% aimed at just take the right away from these children to stay in contact with their Ukrainian parents and grandparents and yeah. And another thing is, I think that all of those laws in Russia in general are made because of Ukrainian children, because hi Kentucky, hi Forest. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, makes sense, Stephen. But so what I was trying to say is basically, I think all of those laws are actually targeting Ukrainian children because Russia used to have laws where, like, if you see somebody beating a child, you got to call the authorities because it's wrong and that child has protection. Now they took that protection away and it's now up to parents to parent their children. So basically, if you see a kid being abused by their parents, like beaten, screamed at, now it's not illegal because it's up to parents to figure out how to punish their children. And I'm pretty sure that that law has been made up in order to avoid people calling police on Russian parents abusing Ukrainian kids that they have adopted. That's what I think. I don't think that these laws were just introduced for no reason. I think they were introduced there specifically for that reason. Up to 40 rockets were fired in Nikopol. This is what we just went through. Britain's parliament failed to dismiss Johnson's government. The British House of Commons on Monday evening gathered to declare a vote of no confidence in the government led by Boris Johnson, but did not get enough votes. 349 PMs supported the government, while 238 voted against it. At first, the vote of no confidence was attempted by the opposition Labour Party, which demanded the immediate resignation of Johnson, but MPs, most of whom are conservatives, rejected the motion. Then the British government initiated a vote of no confidence in itself. If a vote of no confidence had been announced, a general election would have to be called in Britain, where the Conservative Party was expected to get a worse result than in 2019. The result of the EOSC VTOL reconnaissance drone, which the Lithuanians bought with the money raised by Bayraktar TB2 for Ukraine. One of the EOSC VTOL detected 18 units of Russian equipment and transmitted the coordinates to the gunners. The equipment was successfully burned. The video of drones' work on the invaders' positions was demonstrated by Lithuanian journalist Andrius Tapinas, who collected money for the AFU for Bayraktar TB2. The letter was later presented to Ukraine by the company for free, and the money raised for it was spent on another drone. So actually, there is a group of Canadians who are now. So Canada has one of the largest diasporas of Ukrainian people in the world. Winnipeg is the leading city in the population of Ukrainian diaspora in the world. Toronto, I think every third to fourth person has Ukrainian roots and speaks Ukrainian. So Canadians now are trying to involve Ukrainian diaspora in order to raise 7 million Canadian dollars for a Bayraktar for Ukraine. And so if you guys are in Canada and you'd like to donate, I don't know, $5 to a Bayraktar for Ukraine funding, I am going to tell you what the Facebook group is called. I don't know if we can participate from the US, but I was thinking that maybe we can, maybe we could make our own. Maybe we could make our own stuff for this. So Canadian Bayraktar crowdfund. It's called You Help Ukraine. This is what it looks like. I don't know if you guys need to take a screenshot because okay, so I'm gonna hold it up if you guys want to take a screenshot, because I'm also gonna put that link in bio to this. Link in this video's description. But just to be safe, take a screenshot if you're interested, or take a screenshot if you want to repost it, or if you have or if you have friends in Canada, or if you are Canadian, if you want to spread the word. There you go. It says the Canadian Ukrainian community is fundraising for a Bayraktar. Let's raise 7 million for our heroes and gift them a Bayraktar by Ukrainian Independence Day on August 24th. You Help Ukraine. For more information, www.youhelpukraine.org. But here's what it says. Hello, friends. Let's support the initiative of You Help Ukraine, Canadian registered nonprofit organization dedicated to help Ukraine. You can find more information about them on their website. Canadian Bayraktar crowdfund. Across the globe, our allies in Lithuania, Ukraine, and Poland have raised millions of dollars through grassroots fundraisers to ensure and conduct purchases of the well-known Bayraktar drone. It is due time for Canadians to step up and do the same. With every donation, you will be some of the first to support our organization's goal of raising 7 million Canadian dollars to purchase a drone from the largest Ukrainian diaspora in the world. The objective of this project is to get the drone within the hands of the Ukrainian military for their Independence Day, August 24th. With the help of the Ukrainian Canadian community and all those who support Ukraine's battle against tyranny, we will be able to facilitate real physical change and help our heroes back home. Every dollar counts towards the liberation of Ukraine. Donate. I think the PayPal is Bayraktar at youhelpukraine.org. Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Why do you like to come up right behind me and scare me?
You could hear me.
No, I could not. No, I couldn't.
I always know. Always.
Did you not just now?
No, because I know that you're alive.
Uh-huh. You could do though. You could write a comment and be like, "Hey, I'm coming over
here,
just by the way." No, I'm behind you would not be the right thing to say. Okay. But yes, so Canadians are raising money for
Bayraktar. Look at that. What is that? Who did that?
It's a collarbone.
Is it a collarbone?
Yeah.
Something else?
It is a collarbone.
No, when we talk about YouTube, it's different. Sure.
We need a bell for Vasil to wear around the house. Yes,
I
100%.
always knock. Always. I do always knock.
Guys,
People don't, but I do. You didn't knock. Today I was sleeping. You didn't knock.
oh, your door was wide open.
Still, it is open.
No, your door was wide open, and I was looking for you, and I came in, and you were asleep, and I was trying to take a picture because it was funny. Then Cindy jumped on top of you, and you were, but I wasn't like making noises, you know.
Okay, yes, you can continue actually making updates. It's important.
Put a cowbell around his neck. Vasil,
What?
you know how коровы такие штучки носят?
Yes.
I'm gonna get you one of those.
Okay.
Just so you know.
I was sleeping.
Each Ukrainian Canadian donated, it would be $6 per person to raise the 7 million. Yeah. Yes. You guys need to establish boundaries. Yes, we do. We 100% do. Ukrainians defend a front line of 2,450 kilometers. This is the distance from Warsaw to Barcelona. The map clearly demonstrates all the heroism of Ukrainians defending the front line from one of the leading military superpowers of the world. The front line in Ukraine is equal to the distance between the capital in Poland and the southern city of Spain, and it passes through 4 countries. Yes, so the front line of Ukraine, the distance is the same as a road trip from Barcelona to Warsaw. This has been online a lot, and I've seen it a lot, but I think that it's incredibly important to see it again and to show it again because this is the distance. It goes across Europe. This is the front line of Ukraine. (2,450 kilometers). The Ukrainian armed forces have worked on the invaders' ammunition depots in the south of the country. Our aviation worked with 2 attack aircraft on ammunition depot and a concentration of enemy forces near Sniharivka. Overall, the missile fire and artillery mined out 65 Russians, complex hardware communications, 11 armored vehicles. An enemy Su-35 fighter from the area of Novokakhovka tried to attack our planes with an air-to-air missile but was unsuccessful. Yeah, that's basically like a road trip across Europe. The front line of Ukraine is basically the distance of a road trip across Europe. So there is a video that I was tagged in from some guy who is English. Who is English? One second. I'm gonna see because I received a message on Instagram. So I received a message on Instagram from Amber, who made it to Ukraine, and there is a fundraiser. There is this guy who was fundraising for a vehicle to deliver aid to Ukraine, and Peter Shaw, I don't know, maybe this guy. Does anybody know who this guy is? I was tagged in his video a lot of times. You said Peter Shaw? Peter Shaw? Let me see. What was his... So I don't remember what his handle was, but I got but I got tagged in his videos a couple of times, and he's an Englishman who was fundraising for like a vehicle to bring supplies to Ukraine. And here is a message. Both me and Mila were contacted about this guy. He's struggling to get help with his ambulance service. Okay, so this is a message I received. I made it to Lviv and found work. I think I was having a moment of panic, but I always get it done. As I mentioned, I was working with an organization out there, but I didn't mention which one for many reasons. They don't deserve any traction at all. I since found my own work and went solo, but I am reaching out because I noticed you were tagged in their TikTok page, Road to Ukraine, where they're asking for money for a truck or something like that. I can't express this enough. He is a scam. Please do not put your efforts into him. Myself and many who have come in contact via volunteer or know him from the UK have many reasons to believe, many reasons we're all working on together to put a stop to him. I have reached out to Mila as I speak with her from time to time on the chance that you don't see this, that she could pass a message to you. I know this all sounds insane, crazy, dramatic as hell, but let me tell you, the amount of drama and humanitarian aid has broken me more than working at the refugee center. Any query about it, I'm happy to answer. So that's what that's the message that I received about this organization and them being not trustworthy. And this is a longtime follower of mine who has who I have been in contact with them since they've been trying to get to Ukraine to help out. So yes, so I'm going to look into it and I'm going to reach out to other people and see. Yeah, because okay, here's the thing. I am inclined to believe this follower because I don't have any reason not to, but also obviously anything that I ever come across, I check a couple of times. So I'm going to do that and I will keep you updated and keep you posted on that. And we can go from there. Do you have a clear picture of his face? No. The thing is called, one second, Road to Ukraine, I think is what it's called. One second. Oh, Ukraine convoy. This is the video that I was tagged in.
After a meeting just now with the Ukraine medical military sector, we have received a request for a refrigerated lorry to be able to take victims of war and loved ones back to their families for dignified burials. 4 months ago, we did not think we'd be asking for this kind of help. We have put up a specific fundraiser to be able to get donations specifically for this purpose. I will put a link below, but you can go to justgiving.com/crowdfunding/lorry for Ukraine. Please help us with this. And if you're an owner-operator or you operate lorries, please let us know if you have any refrigerated vehicles from 3.5, 7.5, 12 ton upwards.
So their TikTok is called Ukraine Convoy. And I'm not really sure. I've been tagged in his video once, and it does not seem like they have a lot of videos. Doesn't seem like they have a lot of attention though. I don't know. I've never seen them before, to be honest, before I got tagged. Oh, baby, what is that? I mean, the thing is, we've received some information about this person that we need to check out. Is about what? Yeah. So we received some information that is potentially not. Well, we received some information that paints this person from not a good light. So we need to check it out. Is what we need to do. Okay, let me grab Vasil for you for a second. Turns out that they might be dodgy. I don't know, but I'm gonna check it out. I received a message about it, and I was wondering if anybody else has heard anything. But I need to use the bathroom, so Vasil, let me grab him. You can hang out with him for a second. Vasil? Do you want to hang out on live for a second while I use?
Yes, of course. No problem. So, hello, my beautiful people. How are you doing? So, Ukrainian's First Lady Olena Zelenska met with her Secretary of the State Anthony Blinken in the US, and he's about to address Congress, So, I used to read news. When I was in Ukraine, I was reading news every day. So, who are you listening to on TikTok? I love to listen to Lana Del Rey, Hello. You getting out much? What? What do you mean? I was, thank you for an ice cream. I was on the roof, to the roof, at the roof. So I was walking, I was enjoying sunset with music of Lana Del Rey and thinking, where is Manhattan and where is Ukraine? Because I love to know where are things, but seems like I've lost direction of everything because we're moving around all the time. Just checking out the neighborhood. Yes, Lana Del Rey. Do you listen to Ukrainian music? I do. Some of it. Mostly not a lot. Not a lot. Hello. Та добре. Непогано сьогодні. It's super uncomfortable. I don't know. Nice to see you all. I love Lana Del Rey, so one day I hope to visit concert here. For a concert. So that's actually it. What? Okay, I think that. Wow, that's nice. Who do you want to see? Lana Del Rey. So guys, I have a quick reminder that you can follow Yulia. It is her nickname on TikTok. It is Yulia's TikTok. And then you can follow YouTube as well. YouTube is something really important to follow. Do you know the Habracha? Wow, I know. It is one of my favorite bands, Ukrainian. All there. Who do you want to see? How do you like where you are so far? It's better than in war. So, it's okay. No, come. There is nothing to complain about. So I asked everyone to follow YouTube as well as you can follow Patreon. So Let's go.
Well,
Let's
Patreon is
go.
not follow. Patreon is subscribe, and Patreon
Subscribe,
it's a
yeah.
different thing.
You can
Patreon is
subscribe.
not just follow. Patreon is a
I guess I'm gonna walk around.
go look around.
I hope no one kills me.
No one's gonna kill you.
Because there are a lot of like weird people,
I'll
strange. A lot of people who are nuts.
So you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine.
It's free cherry.
Yulia, your assistant did well. He's not an assistant.
Wow.
Okay, Ukraine's First Lady Olena Zelenska met with the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in the U.S. and is about to address Congress. I'm here in the U.S. at the invitation of First Lady Jill Biden. She visited Ukraine in May to personally see and talk to those who have lost their homes and loved ones because of the war. Now it's my turn to speak in the U.S. about Ukrainian needs in our resistance and fight against the aggressor, Olena Zelenska said. As for the meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, Zelenska commented, his position in that, quote, a sovereign independent Ukraine will exist much longer than Putin remains unchanged. Meanwhile, AP reported the State Department announced and then canceled a planned brief appearance by Blinken and Zelenska before photographers. The subdued arrival indicates that Zelenska did not come as an official representative to her husband, President Volodymyr Zelensky's government. Olena Zelenska is scheduled to meet with the U.S. First Lady Jill Biden today and to address lawmakers on Wednesday in the congressional chamber at the Capitol. Yeah, she's very lovely. Intelligence update from British intelligence. As of 19th of July, Russia continues to commit what are normally 6 separate armies to its Donbas offensive. At full strength before the invasion, these formations were established for around 150,000 personnel. In recent weeks, Russia has often operated with company-sized groupings of around 100 personnel when undertaking offensive operations in any one sector at a time. Russia has struggled to sustain effective offensive combat power since the start of the invasion, and this problem is likely becoming increasingly acute. As well as dealing with severe undermanning, Russian planners face a dilemma between deploying reserves to the Donbas or defend against Ukrainian counterattacks in the southwestern Kherson sector. Russia's stated immediate policy objective is to seize all of Donetsk Oblast. While Russia may still make further territorial gains, their operational tempo and rate of advance is likely to be very slow without a significant operational pause for reorganization and refit. Yeah, Russian progress has halted a lot, and it does look like it's going to set to reverse. Because, well, we've gotten better weapons, and they really don't know how to act against them. They also do not have enough manpower. They're going through a lot of roadblocks. The so-called DNR has completed an investigation into the explosion at the drama theater in Mariupol. The explosion in the drama theater allegedly came from inside, and no traces of an air bomb were found in the theater itself. Also, according to the so-called DNR General Prosecutor's Office, only 14 bodies were found in the premises of the destroyed theater. The strong smell of rotten meat was explained by the fact that fish were allegedly stored in the basement of the theater, and in general, the theater itself was not used for civilians or by civilians. It should be reminded that it is impossible to establish the exact number of victims of a bomb dropped by Russia on the drama theater where civilians were hiding, but their number is measured in hundreds. We should also note that Amnesty International recognized the bombing of the drama theater in Mariupol as a war crime by Russia. Ukraine has returned the bodies of 44 more dead soldiers. The exchange operation was carried out with the cooperation of the Commissioner for Missing Persons, Oleg Kotenko, and law enforcement agencies of Ukraine in accordance with the norms of the Geneva Convention. This is what the Antonov Bridge in Kherson looks like now. Russian media has already blamed the AFU for the shelling, and they didn't forget to mention HIMARS. Cool bro. Cool bro 826. If you have YouTube, I would ask you to please go over to YouTube and write that question on YouTube so I can pin it, and I would love to answer it because it is a very good question, and I feel like I would like to go over it in depth a little bit because, well, first off, James and Theo had already given you most of the rundown, but I would like to give you more rundown. You don't have to. Yeah, thank you so much. YouTube is Yewleea. If you can just write that question on YouTube, I'll pin it so next time that someone watches it, they can see what we're talking about. And I would love to answer that question because it is a very, very good one. So I'll wait a second unless the question gets for the question to be submitted. If not, then I will just go ahead and read it from here and ask one of you to not top chat, live chat. Oh wow. Okay. Why is it always set to top chat instead of live chat? Okay, so here is the question, and I guess if someone could write it out so I can pin it, that would be great. So this person is asking why Russians cannot have more manpower. They have a large population. Am I wrong? ? Serious question. So if anybody could write that out so I could pin it, you could shorten it or something. It's just that when you rewatch YouTube, pinned questions still get shown better and people know what we are talking about. So basically, the reason why Russians can't get enough manpower is there are a couple of reasons. One, you cannot declare mass mobilization without declaring a war, and in Russian terms, it is still special military operation. Thank you, Jen. Pin message. Okay, so in Russian terms, for Russian citizens, it's still special military operation. Two, Russians cannot. So Russians did not want to mobilize ethnic Russians. They wanted to mobilize non-ethnic Russians, so Buryats, Dagestanis, most of the minorities of Russia, in order to avoid basically Moscow and St. Petersburg and bigger kind of like regions finding out about what's actually happening. And also because, well, they're racist and they would rather sacrifice minorities than sacrifice ethnic Russians, right? So most of the people who were dying in the war and most of the people who were going to war were minorities. Now minorities are starting to protest and they're starting to quite literally jump out of military vehicles when they're being taken towards Ukraine. They're refusing to fight, they're creating resistance movements, and they are not willing to be mobilized. Because they know what's happening, because their moms, their dads, their grandmas, their grandpas, they talk to each other, right? So they know that people are literally dying in Ukraine and that it isn't a special military operation. It is, in fact, a full-scale armed aggression and war against Ukraine. Now, they're not necessarily protesting because they're against the war. They're protesting because they know they're going to go there and they're going to be used as cannon fodder. So they don't want to do that. So non-Russians, as an ethnic Russians, usually live in Moscow and St. Petersburg and have more resources than non-ethnic Russians, than minorities. And so they don't sign up for the army as often because they don't need to make money that way. Most people go to the army because they think they're going to make easy money by serving in the barracks somewhere and doing not a lot. So ethnic Russians are not going to just go volunteer to fight for their country. They all say that they would love to, but then when push comes to shove, they won't. So basically, the issue is non-Russians are refusing to fight. Russia doesn't want to mobilize Russians. Russian people usually have higher income than, ethnic Russians usually have statistically higher income than non-ethnic Russians. So they will not just go and sign up for the military. And and you can't declare mass mobilization without declaring a war, and it's really hard to mobilize people behind the scenes without declaring mass mobilization. So there is a lot going on there, but the majority of it is that they were hoping to use all the minorities, and minorities are now like, no. So now they have an issue with people being mobilized. And the majority of Russia is minorities, if you didn't know. Actually, if you put all of the minorities together, they are the majority of Russia. So ethnic Russians are mostly like St. Petersburg and Moscow. So yeah, that's a very good question, and thank you for asking it. Alrighty. Details of overnight shelling in Kharkiv, Sumy, and Mykolaiv regions. There are dead and wounded. In the morning, the enemy shelled the village of Mospanova. 2 people hospitalized. Also, a woman was wounded due to the morning shelling of Tsirkuny village. In the night, the Russians shelled the village of Korobichkina and launched a rocket attack on the village of Klugino-Bashirivka of the Chuhuyev district. Private households were damaged and fires broke out. The enemy shelled settlements in Kharkiv, Bohodukhiv, Chuhuyev, and Izum districts of the region over the past 24 hours. Houses and outbuildings were damaged. 2 fires occurred in wheat fields. In the Kharkiv region, shelling caused a major fire in a medical facility. A total of 5 civilians were hospitalized with injuries during the day. A 75-year-old man died due to his injuries as a result of shelling in the Kharkiv region. Sumy region. In the evening, the mortar... Sini! Sorry. One second. Sin. No. You cannot do that. That's not nice. You don't get to dig at the pillow just because you want it to be flatter, because you ruined the pillow. You get that, right? That's not something you do. It's not something you're allowed to do. It's not something a good bulldog does, okay? You can always ask me. Sorry? Sorry. Okay. On the night of July 18th, 12 S-300 missiles were fired at Mykolaiv and the surrounding areas. Suburban infrastructure, residential and industrial areas of the city were shelled. Preliminary, there were no casualties. By the evening of July 18th, the city was attacked by Uragan multiple rocket launchers. Cluster shells were fired at a private sector. 2 people were wounded. In Snihirivka, the invaders fired a mortar at a house in the outskirts of the city in order to blame it on the Ukrainian Defense Forces. A propaganda media crew worked in the town to do this. 4 local residents were killed. Operational Command South. Beautiful shots of our pilots. Here is something that I want to show you. Probably. I mean, these are Ukrainian fighter jets, though, so I don't know if these are the ones, because the ones that we took down were the Russian fighter jets. And yeah, Peter, Cine is always causing trouble. I don't know if you could. Well, it's hard to see her, but literally this over here is my dog. Like those 2 ears, and on YouTube, that's this. This is Cine. Oh, yeah, probably. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers hold back the Russian onslaught every day and every night, according to Zelensky. Ukrainians make one of the most significant contributions in history to the fight against terrorism. And we are grateful to everyone who help us. But the time has come for the democratic world to enshrine all of this in proper legal instruments. The status of a terrorist state for Russia, special tribunal on Russian aggression, a special compensation mechanism, and of course, new sanctions for terror. And Zelensky accompanied that statement with these photographs. Also, guys on YouTube, if you could please like the if you could please like the live stream, that'd be incredibly helpful because there are 14 likes and 20 people. So if that's something that isn't troublesome for you to do, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. About 1,000 Russian military based on the border with Donetsk region, together with equipment, moved towards Zaporizhia. The Russian military, about 1,000 rovers based on the border of Donetsk and Zaporizhia regions in the settlements along the line Demyanivka, Starobudivka, Zakharivka, together with military equipment, withdrew from the parking lot in the morning and went in convoys towards Zaporizhia. Most of the military personnel are young people under the age of 23, he wrote. Yes, Russian soldiers have been getting younger and younger, and if you look at the photos of them, they legitimately look like children, like actual children. It's really, really, really scary. Will sink Russia's Black Sea Fleet, pledges Ukraine. Ukraine will destroy the Russian Black Sea Fleet and reclaim Crimea, Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Volodymyr Gavrilov told The Times. Gavrilov noted that the Ukrainian military is building up its capabilities and is waiting to receive weapons of the greater range before launching an assault. We have a constant threat from the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Given the new technology and capabilities we are getting, we have to counter this threat. We started with an operation on Zmi in the island. We are getting anti-ship capabilities, and sooner or later we will target the fleet. It's inevitable because we have to guarantee the security of our people, he said. Gavrilov added that Russia must give up Crimea if it wants to continue to exist as a state. Russia found another justification for the special military operation of the war in Ukraine. Kyiv's statements about plans to destroy the Russian Black Sea Fleet and Crimea only confirm the justification for a special military operation, Dmitry Peskov said. Yeah, of course. It's all about, yes, Russia moved their fleet, from most of their fleet, from Sevastopol to Novorossiysk, because, well, it's harder to reach Novorossiysk. But if we have the 300-kilometer range HIMARS, we can destroy it, I believe. But yes, they moved most of their fleet from Sevastopol to Novorossiysk, which is, let me show you on the map. Wanna fix you, make you feel right. Sorry. Google Maps. Sorry, I have Apple Maps on this, and I can't. It's so bad. Apple Maps are so bad. They're horrific. They're horrendous. So, this is the map. This is Sevastopol, right here. And then this is Novorossiysk, right here. Oh no, Brandy. Or rather, oh no, Brandy's dog. So, and this thing right here, that yellow thing, connects Russia and Crimea. And that's the bridge that we want to blow up, or rather that we need to blow up. It's the Kerch Bridge. Oh my gosh, they have a village called Ilyich in their little Russian territory, which is interesting because that's Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. And guess who has the blueprints for that bridge? Ukraine does, don't we? Yeah, I would really love to see their reaction to when the bridge falls, honestly, because screw them. The Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation put Ukrainian journalist Dmitry Gordon on the wanted list. Back in March, the Investigative Committee of Russia opened a criminal case against Gordon under 3 articles. He's charged with public calls to start a war, inciting hatred on the basis of nationality, and spreading fakes about the Russian armed forces. Gordon is a very popular Ukrainian journalist who has a TV show, and he basically exposes a lot of Russian celebrities. He exposes a lot of Russian generals. He's just generally one of those people where he goes he interviews a lot of people, and he's been talking to a lot of Russian celebrities who are against the war. He's very well respected. Oh my gosh. We're going to have a party when Crimean Bridge is blown up. Yeah, Tucker Carlson thinks he's Dmitro Gordon, but Gordon is actually he's respectable. Invaders shelled Slaviansk today. There are wounded. Private houses were also damaged, the mayor of the city, Vadim Lyakh, said. According to him, there are people under the rubble. Also, this is what Gordon looks like. You've seen him. He interviews Arestovich a lot. This is Gordon. And this is the shelling of Slaviansk today. Earth maps. Interesting, Cherry. I'll look at it. Mariana Temnik, what? No, he's not respectable. Okay, let's see. I mean, I'm willing to accept an opinion because I'm not I think that Gordon is just he has a lot of people on his show, and he has been, according to my knowledge, which I'm very bad with Ukrainian pop culture, but I know that he has had a lot of people on air since the beginning of the war that were where he was exposing them. So maybe I am wrong, but Ukrainian pop culture to me is a little difficult because I'm not in Ukraine. So Mariana, I'm happy to hear an opinion, and I'm happy to hear what you have to say. In the meanwhile, I will well, whenever you're ready, I'm here. The American military-industrial complex is preparing to arm Ukraine. Only a list of needs is required. In an interview with the Financial Times, the chief executive of the U.S. defense giant Northrop Grumman, Kathy Warden, said she was preparing to increase the production of weapons and required military equipment as well as the quantity. The stocks of weapons that are being transferred to Ukraine need to be replenished. Ukraine gave its list for it was also equipment as well as quantity. The stock of weapons that are being transferred to Ukraine need to be replenished since there are no signs of a quick end to the war yet. It was also confirmed that meetings are held at the Pentagon several times a week where measures to support Ukraine with weapons are discussed, and they provide an understanding of the areas in which enterprises should focus. The publication quotes another unnamed general contractor for the U.S. Army who said that he had already begun purchasing components in anticipation of large orders for the manufacture of aircraft and helicopters for Ukraine. 10 people were injured from the strike at Kramatorsk. 5 of them were hospitalized. I'm going to show you a video, part of it, because Territorial communities that are occupied by Russian Federation, surrounded or where hostilities are taking place. A 100% of Kherson, 100% of Crimea, 79% of Zaporizhia Oblast, 100% of Donetsk, 100% of Luhansk, 91.1% of Kharkiv, 37.3% of Sumy, 8.8% of Chernihiv, 46.2% of Mykolaiv, 8.1% of Dnipro. The adopted bills in the Verkhovna Rada for July 19th. Establishment of the VSK to monitor the receipt and use of international logistical assistance during martial law. Exemption from liability for violation of the deadlines for submitting financial statements during martial law, as well as within 3 months after the end of martial law. Exemption of small and medium-sized subsidiaries from the mandatory preparation and submission of consolidated financial statements. A draft law on special guarantees for Polish citizens was adopted in the first reading. In particular, the Poles will be able to stay on the territory of Ukraine for 18 months and enjoy all the rights and freedoms like the citizens of Ukraine, to work, conduct business, receive education, social benefits, and medical care. Oh, Gordon is considered a meme. He's known for disgustingly complimentary interviews and shifting his position depending on who pays him. The opposite of journalism. He is popular, though. Oh, I see. Okay, so Tucker Carlson. Pretty much. Gotcha. I see. NATO, the UN, EU, World Health Organization, CDC, all need to be dismantled, and the corruption in them needs to be brought to light so the corrupt can be tried for their crimes. Watching Trains Go By writes on YouTube. Well, hello there, troll. You are one of the first trolls I've ever had on YouTube. Nice to meet you. Well, and bye-bye. Yeah, so the dude is literally Tucker Carlson. I see. Okay, well, I'm glad to know that because I've only heard bits and pieces about him, so I didn't know enough. I just know that he was doing a lot of like really provocative interviews. Yeah. Approval of the order and types of forced feeding, as well as the conditions of detention of convicts and persons taken into custody who refuse to eat. Hunger strike. Deregulation and the introduction of a contractual regime of labor relations in the field of small and medium-sized businesses. Establishing the frequency of all Ukrainian population census at least once every 10 years, which is good. Putin arrived in Tehran. There, he will meet with Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and Turkish President Erdogan and hold bilateral talks with each of the leaders. At a meeting with Erdogan, according to Putin's assistant Yuri Ushakov, the export of Ukrainian grain will be discussed. Why the fuck are we still talking with Putin about Ukrainian grain? Here is the thing. Does Putin have anything to do with Ukraine? No. Is he Ukrainian? No. Is he anywhere near the Ukrainian government? No, although he thought he would be in 3 days. He thought he was going to take it over. So why are we talking about the export of Ukrainian grain with the Russian tyrant? I love when these headlines are like, Putin and blah, blah, blah are going to discuss the export of Ukrainian grain. No, you can't call it the export of Ukrainian grain. You can call it the theft of Ukrainian grain. You need, international publications need to stop glossing over what actually happened, and they need to start naming things the way they are. You can't keep calling it Putin's discussing the export of Ukrainian grain. Putin has nothing to fucking do with the export of Ukrainian grain. He has not a single relation to our export, import, or anything. You can't discuss import of another country with a president of the country that is literally has nothing to do with it. And the only thing he has to do with it, terrorizing it every day. Exactly. The only people who should be talking about Ukrainian grain are Ukrainians and is the Ukrainian parliament. Like, if you'd like to put the right, let me fix this for you really quick. There, he will meet with the Iranian president Ibrahim Raisi and Turkish president Erdogan and hold bilateral talks with each one of the leaders. At a meeting with Erdogan, according to Putin's assistant Yuri Ushakov, the theft of Ukrainian grain will be discussed. The theft of Ukrainian grain will be discussed. The sale of the stolen Ukrainian grain will be discussed. Like, you can't keep calling it the export of Ukrainian grain. Stop that. Irina Venediktova was fired from the position of Prosecutor General of Ukraine. 264 deputies voted for her dismissal. She attended the meeting. The dismissal came with a discussion. And the head of the Servant of the People faction, David Arachmia, told that a new position on the diplomatic front is possible for Ms. Venediktova. The ex-prosecutor general will remain in the team, and her experience will serve the state in a new place. We are waiting in a few days or a week for her new assignment on the diplomatic front, Arachmia said on the air of a telethon. Mykolaiv may be closed for several days to search for collaborators. Mykolaiv Armee Vitaly Kim on the air of the telethon. There are those who have a long time with some idea. There are people who are either desperate or do not think about the consequences, who decided to make money. These are isolated cases, but each such case entails potential victims. We want to end this in the bud, said Kim. Invaders shelled the Dnipropetrovsk region twice in a day. In the EU and Ukraine signed a memorandum on 1 billion euros of emergency macro-financial assistance. This was announced on Twitter by the executive vice president of the European Commission, Valdis Dombrovskis. Aid should be paid to Ukraine at the end of July. Irina Venediktova was officially dismissed from the post of the Prosecutor General of Ukraine. Russian media published footage of the attack on the bridge in Zatoka, Odessa region on June 2nd, filmed by the camera installed in the rocket. Meeting between Putin and head of Iran. Why are they sitting so close? Apparently the 15-meter table did not fit into the plane. Clearly they're such buddies, Putin and the president of Iran. On the video, a compartment of the International Space Station, which is occupied by a representative of Russia. This is fucking hilarious.
С нами на борту находится икона небесной покровительницы вашего города, святой великомученицы Екатерины, которую, я надеюсь, по возвращении на Землю мы вместе с моим экипажем вручим в руки тому, кто поручил мне такую миссию, митрополиту Евгению, а через него и всем екатеринбуржцам. Святая Екатерина – это прекрасный возвышенный символ уральской столицы. Под ее покровом Екатеринбург стал динамично развивающимся городом добрых, образованных, энергичных и талантливых людей. Божьей помощи всем нам. С наступающими праздниками и до скорой встречи.
Do we see Do we see this? This is freaking hilarious. I'm surprised they don't have like the USSR flag there somewhere. Are you guys? Hello, I'm back. Yeah, did you guys see the whole he was saying that he is from Yekaterinburg and he has the icon of the Saint Yekaterina, but there is also not only that icon there is like there are millions of them literally. I don't know if you like 1, 2, the one that's like floating near him. There is 3 over here. There are more. There is this with the Soviet flag behind him. There's all of these Russian flags everywhere. And he's saying that he brought this icon with him of Saint Yekaterina because she's the saint who is looking after Yekaterinburg, where he's from. And yeah. The enemy is concentrating his main efforts on attempts to advance in the direction of Seversk and Bakhmut, the main thing from the summary of the General Staff for the evening of July 19th. In the Kharkiv direction, the enemy continued to fire from the artillery of settlements in areas northeast and southeast of Kharkiv. And yes, to those of you who assumed that my phone was overheating, it is overheating quite a bit. So I'm trying to like speed up the process so both my camera and my phone don't overheat because it is also incredibly hot outside, and I only have one fan really working in that room, and it's in that corner, and I want it to be there because it's near my bed, and I would prefer that area to be cooler than this area. But yeah, I really, 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 really need to solve this phone issue. I just need to really figure out which like provider I'm gonna go with and stuff like that, because at this point like I will have to put $500 down no matter what, and that's like I don't know like I just don't know where to go with it. So I need to solve that thing. Do you have a can of PC cleaning spray? No. Costco usually cheaper for phones. Yeah, I'll look it up. But like the thing is, it's not about. I'm not gonna buy it, right? Like, I'm not gonna buy it outright. My thing is like I need to buy it on a contract. So yes, hi Thomas. No, I don't have a compressed can of air. No, I don't have any of those things. I just have glasses cleaner liquid. That's about it. Oh. Interesting. Cool. Okay. I'll look into it. Boris Johnson held his last meeting with the government. The ministers gave him the first editions of Churchill's books as a parting gift. According to Sky News, all members of the Cabinet of Ministers participated in the purchase of the gift. From today, all citizens of Ukraine are deprived of the right to own real estate in Mariupol by the decision of the occupation authorities. In fact, the other day there will be a nationalization of the surviving dwellings, and resettlement according to orders will follow. That is, it was ours, it became someone else's. Such it is, maneuverable housing, he wrote. So not only was people's housing and people's relatives and people's lives destroyed in Mariupol, and not only is there a cholera and dysentery epidemic, they're also now going to be rehoused from their houses without roofs. Well, rather, the people who live in the surviving houses are now going to be rehoused because there is going to be nationalization of Mariupol's property. That's crazy. Hungary does not object to the transit of weapons to Ukraine through its territory, said Deputy Foreign Minister of Hungary, Levente Magyar, during a visit to Lviv. Ryan says that he made those holopsi that he was talking about yesterday. Hi, Jean. That he was talking about yesterday, and that they turned out delicious, and he wishes he could send them to me and Vasil, so we could judge the shit out of them. But see, Vasil would probably judge, and I cauliflower rice holopsi, I would not judge. I would eat. My family in Ukraine is doing okay, Jean. Thank you so much for asking. I was just talking to my mom actually. So my mom is in Poland picking up my grandpa, who was in Israel visiting his friend, and my mom was sending me a package with some Maria stamps and like whatever, and he was like, "Hey, and I'm sending you something from your dad, but please track this package carefully. I don't want it to be stolen. And also, please look for something giant in your mailroom." And I'm like, Sini, please calm down. Thank you. So my dad apparently sent me a present or a surprise through my mom, through Poland, and she's sending it to me, and it's something giant, and she won't tell me what it is, and I'm scared because what could be she's like, look for a big box, a huge box, a very large box, a giant box, and I'm like, I'm very confused as to what that will be. But yeah, I will be tracking the package. Yeah, I'm so confused. I'm so confused and I'm so scared. I don't even remember like mentioning anything to my dad that I might like or want or anything like that, so I literally do not know what it could be. No, the bag is not big. The bag wouldn't be like, she wouldn't be saying like, "Oh, don't look for a small package. Look for a huge package." Tato in a box. Tato in a box would be cool. Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Oleksiy Reznikov, invited Western countries to test new weapons in Ukraine. Speaking via video link on the Atlantic Council think tank, he stated the following: "We're interested in testing modern systems in battles against the enemy. We invite arms manufacturers to test new products here. I think this is a good chance for our partners in Poland, the US, France, Germany, or our Turkish partners to test their weapons. So give us the tools, we'll finish the job, and you'll have new information." That's actually pretty brilliant. I agree with him. I think that's brilliant. I'm going to send this to myself because I want to talk about it. EW Complex Repellent 1 was destroyed near the gateway of the Kakhovska hydroelectric. Sorry, sometimes my I get my evening alarm for medication, and my phone thinks that I did not get back into TikTok. EW Complex Repellent 1 was destroyed near the gateway of the Kakhovska hydroelectric power station, media reported. Ukrainian Air Force shot down a Russian fighter. The command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reports on Facebook. This happened near New Kakhovka. The military says the pilot ejected aircraft model, probably Su-35. And here is a video of a downed Russian fighter that will not fly anywhere else. That's a Russian fighter jet.
Это что, походу, как он провода еще не ебанул?
New keychain. Oof. HIMARS attacks in Russian warehouses had a significant impact in July on the number of attacks by the invaders, reducing them to a minimum. This pause allowed our defenders in the trenches to rest at least a little. We have collected for you a video of the shelling of Ukrainian positions in Donbass, where the servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine courageously and with humor endured difficult trails.
Ебать, меня закопало нахуй.
Thank you, Melissa.
Я иду. Хорошо. Суть в этом, знаю. Ну, по нему стреляется, ему туда. Там есть дальше, куда перебегать? Есть? Где куда дальше? Где куда дальше бегать? Да. Нет, ебать. Сетка нахуй. Да сколько, залезь нахуй. Залезь там, поскольку хуёвит, ебать. Сюданы, блядь. Колесо, ебать. Да, не, смотри, мы начали, блядь, минуту еще ебашим. Там есть замедленное действие, нахуй. Ну, что? Ну, что ты, вы все бачите, но это замедленно, нахуй. Сейчас еще буду ебашить. Вот ёбана саунска, ты до нас скажи, Ваня, съебайся туда. О, нахуй. Расскажи пару слов последних. Пушка, да? Блядь, пуск вообще нахуй. Ебать, серьезно, блядь.
Yeah, and they seem so. Sini! Stop digging at the pillow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, porch cat. Sorry, Cindy is being very not nice. Yeah, and those guys they seem like so unbothered. It's like a normal, day in life. German Defense Minister Christine Lambrecht admitted that the resources of the Bundeswehr to help Ukraine are running out. We can no longer give away a lot from the Bundeswehr stocks. I will say this very clearly, and my colleague, Ukrainian Defense Minister, also knows this. At the same time, she assured that the FRG intends to continue supporting Kyiv. Armed forces of Ukraine destroyed 11,000 invaders during the battles of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. According to him, about 3,000 soldiers of the so-called LPR and 8 to 9,000 from the RF armed forces. In addition, Reznikov pointed out that more than 20,000 Russian soldiers were injured, and of these, about 6,500 were severe injuries with amputation of limbs. France sent 6 Caesar self-propelled artillery mounts to Ukraine. This was announced today in 20 minutes by French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna. Or Catherine Colonna? I don't know. We have decided to not report all of our military contributions and leave this information to our partners, she said. Putin, at a meeting with Erdogan in Tehran, said that they were both satisfied with the grain talks that took place in Istanbul on July 13th. According to the Russian dictator, the issues of food security and cooperation to facilitate the supply of Russian and Ukrainian grain to world markets were discussed today. At the same time, the aggressor did not voice any specifics on this issue. New U.S. aid package to Ukraine will be approved this week, Pentagon Speaker Kirby said. It is important for Ukraine to end the war before winter, said the head of the presidential office, Andriy Yermak, in an interview with NV. The main task of Lend-Lease is to get everything on time. It is very important for us to enter the winter. After the winter, when the Russians will have more time to dig in, it will clearly be more difficult. They are pulling us into it. It is very important for us to not give them such an opportunity. Also, according to Yermak, Ukraine is seeking to ensure that sanctions are imposed against family members of the Russian military who are fighting in Ukraine. State-of-the-art Russian radar station destroyed during strike on Lazurna. In particular, a solid-state 3 coordinate radar station with all-round visibility, phased array, and detection of air targets at low and extremely low altitudes in a difficult jamming environment was destroyed. This radar is designed to issue target destination for the S-300, S-400, etc. air defense systems. A missile attack was carried out in the settlement of Odessa Regional State Administration. Donetsk lawyers who wrote the resolution on non-recognition of ownership of real estate in Mariupol were knocked on their asses, advisor to the mayor of Mariupol, Petro Andrushenko. According to him, a clarification is being urgently prepared that this resolution applies exclusively to official apartments of law enforcement officers of Ukraine, state and communal property apartments. The decree will be removed or clarified that it does not apply to individuals. The most interesting thing is that the resonance is caused precisely by the New Russians, who are also subject to this decree. And if for Ukrainians this paper has no force and does not deprive them of their property rights under the law, for the Russians the situation is exactly the opposite, since they recognize the so-called DNR, summed up Andrushenko. Thank you. Tonight, the enemy fired at the center of Hulaypola, Zaporizhia region using Grad MLRS and artillery. Reports to the regional military administration. According to the preliminary information, there are casualties. According to witnesses, the invaders used more than 20 shells. The buildings of the executive committee, city council, cultural and sports complex branches of the post office and communications private houses were destroyed. Sini, I swear, you have your own bed. The rescuers of the State Emergency Service are engaged in the elimination of fires. Give me 1 second. I need to attend to my child who's trying to abuse my pillows. So give me a second. Sina,
Baby Frog, I know you like it here better. I know you like. I know. I get it. But this is not your space. This is my space. Not your space, my space. Your space is the little fluffy bed next to my bed. I have big human bed. You have big doggy bed. And you better go to your big doggy bed. See? Cindy is a French bulldog. Yes. I have a dog. Yes. I'll bring her over in a second. I have a couple of updates to go through and then I'll show you Cindy. Tonight, the enemy fired at the center of Yewleea, Zaporizhzhia region using Grad MLRS and artillery, reports the regional military administration. According to the preliminary information, there are casualties. Oh, hi, Jennifer. According to witnesses, the invaders used more than 20 shells. The buildings of the executive committee, city council, cultural and sports complex, branches of the post office and communications, private houses were destroyed. The rescuers of the state emergency service are engaged in the elimination of fires. The mayor of Novokakhovka, occupied by Russian troops, left the city. Volodymyr Kovalenko reported to the Suspilne channel. Together with him, his deputy Oleg Tarabaka left Novokakhovka. From the beginning of the war on February 24th, for almost 5 months, we continued to fulfill our duties. Today, it becomes impossible to work due to the constant pressure of the military of the Russian Federation. Therefore, we are forced to leave for the territory controlled by the armed forces of Ukraine and will work remotely, Kovalenko said. First Lady of Ukraine, Olena Zelenska, met with U.S. President Joe Biden and his spouse, Jill Biden, at the White House. Italian journalist Alessandro Sallusti, live on Italian TV channel, accused a colleague of Putin's propaganda and called propagandist Vladimir Solovyov a shit. Then he added that the Kremlin is a palace full of shit, after which he left the broadcast. It's
a Mosca, siamo nel cuore della capitale russa, quella che vedete è una fotografia che tutto il mondo conosce. Laggiù in fondo c'è la Piazza Rossa. Quelle che vedete adesso invece sono le mura che circondano il Cremlino, il palazzo dove vive Vladimir Putin. Allora, io faccio entrare anche, come sapete, Vladimir Solovyov, che anche lui è qui, e con me c'è anche Vakharov, il professor Vakharov, che di passaporto ucraino vive in Russia. No, guarda Massimo, mi ritrovo in un asservimento totale la peggiore propaganda che ci possa essere. Quel palazzo che tu hai alle spalle, faresti bene a ricordarlo a chi ti sta di fianco, è il palazzo dove sono stati organizzati, decisi e messi in pratica i peggiori crimini contro l'umanità del secolo scorso e di questo secolo. Quello è un palazzo di merda. Tu dovresti avere il coraggio di dire ai tuoi interlocutori che il palazzo che hai alle spalle è un palazzo di merda, perché lì il comunismo ha fatto le più grandi tragedie del secolo scorso e di questo secolo. Io di fare la foglia di fico a quegli altri due coglioni che hai di fianco non ci sto, e per cui mi alzo, rinuncio al compenso pattuito, ma a questa sceneggiata io non voglio più
il palazzo di merda. I love that. I love that, because the first Italian guy was basically saying, like, welcome to Moscow. This is the square that everybody knows, the Kremlin square. It's a picture known to the world, and this is like the wall that guards the place where Putin most likely lives. and he's basically like shitting on his colleagues for participating in Russian propaganda. And then he's like, "You're standing in front of the palace of shit, a palace of shit." Oh, I love Italians. This is the best like last piece of news for the day to end the news part of the stream on. This is amazing. I love Italians. Mille grazie agli amici italiani. I think I found the new love of my life, and that's Alessandro Salusti. Are you married? Jeff Indanzato? Because I would like to know. I mean, I'm married, but that's a separate story. The main question is he? 6. I speak 6 languages. I love it. This man made my day. Thank you for being here and watching the news. You guys are incredible. Oh, I'm gonna bring Cindy. Yeah. Oh, you're Italian, Porch Kit. That's awesome. Yes, I do love Italy, and I do love the fact that nobody in Italy filters anything. I freaking love that. Sina. Hey. Baby. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Hey. Oh my gosh. Listen. Sin, how are you getting heavier and heavier every day? Gosh. Tina. Oh. So yeah, that is Cindy. No, Cindy had way too many treats today. See, the ears are running up. The ears. Shinga. Ton 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 ton. No, Vasil is not sneaking her snacks, but we have that camera that James got for Cindy, the treat camera from PetCube, and Cindy always looks upset, Diane. Yes, Cindy has been getting, yes, exactly. Cindy has been getting lots of treats from the treat cam because it's so funny. Even when we are home, we use it because it's so funny. It's like she's sleeping, and then there's like the sound like, and then like a treat literally gets spit out, and she's like, where'd it go? And then she like goes down and tries to like look for them. It's so funny. And she's like running around, which is good exercise for this fat little thing. Right, fat little thing? Right, fat little thing? What's up? She is muscular. I just like calling her. She's actually pure muscle. She's not fat, but I like calling her fat. Because look at that little belly. Look at that little belly. Hello, I would kiss you, but yes. What? I would kiss you, but I have lip gloss on, so you will be all sticky. You will be all sticky. Na 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 na. This is my backup. Oh no, my backup account. Oh, sorry, this is Joey's account. Joey's just on a vacation, and he asked me to do streams from his account. Wait, see, okay, I'm letting you go. 1 sec. I said, your hair went into my nose, and now, Sinya. Okay, yes, I'm letting you go. Gosh, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me bring her. Sinya. Oh man. God, babes, why are you so big? It was so nice when you were a puppy. You were so light. You were so light. You were so small. Oh gosh. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, guys. I think we are done for today. I'm gonna go look at Costco and iPhones because I didn't even realize that Costco sold phones. But I'm gonna go look into that, and I'm gonna go let my phone cool off a little bit. And yeah, I'm gonna go do some things, and I have a video to record to you. See me. And I'm gonna go attend to my dog. And I have a video to record that's very funny, so stay tuned. I have a video to record about like a funny thing Lviv did to fundraise for the army. So I'm gonna put it out on TikTok in a second. Yeah, Maddie, I'm done. I'm sorry. But the newscast is on YouTube, Maddie. If you'd like to check it out, it's gonna be on YouTube, as all of the newscasts are. See you guys later. Bye. And bye, guys, on YouTube. I will not forget to turn you off. Bye.